Okay, we're recording. All right. Now, back to the meeting. Um, all right. So first we have the principal's report. Yeah, Ms. Hunter, would you like to give us a report?
Sure. Thank you for having me this evening. So I'm just going to kind of talk about where we are right now with students for Monday coming up. We are ending the third quarter tomorrow, actually, and we start fourth quarter on Monday. So we have, as of today, we have 105 students returning to on-site learning. So that's really exciting. We had a chat on Wednesday so we sent something out on Monday to all families. We had a chat on Wednesday to talk about it a little bit further, and so people can ask questions. That has been uploaded to the website today. Took me a while to figure out how to get it today. Took me all day. Almost didn't get there, but it's on the website. And also an email went out to all families who are coming in, just to those families this evening, to just remind, look at these, look at this information, all of that, so that people feel comfortable with their children coming to school. And that information will also be in the weekly middle school memo that comes out on Sunday as well. So trying to just do all kind of modes of communication and for that.
Feedback. I got very good feedback about your talk last night. I heard that someone said that it was just great and you were wonderful.
Oh, good.
Doing it, and that you seemed super gracious and lovely, and yeah, really good feedback.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So just there, we have a busy day next Wednesday. We have picture day, which we have picture day in a pandemic. So students who are on site will take them, during school, but we do have a sign up genius for those who are online. So hopefully we'll get more students to do that. And we just decided that we're probably going to have a yearbook too. So that'll be interesting. It won't be as big as it normally is, but we're going to do that. And also on Wednesday, we're going to have online supply pickup. So that's going out as well to online families for fourth quarter. So some novels, design, I think that's it. And also on Wednesday, we're going to have, so if you have any incoming 7th grade students, or if you know of any friends who have incoming 7th grade students, we have an orientation on Wednesday evening as well. So Woodbury advertised that for us last week. So we usually go through Woodbury to do that since they have all the families.
What do students who are not on site do about picture day?
There's a sign up genius, so they can sign up for a time. So we have like three slots. So from 8 to 8:45, which is before school. So if they're able to do that, also during lunchtime, that time frame, and then after school from 4:30 to 6:30, we have that 4:30 to 7 actually. So students have the opportunity to take pictures then.
Sorry, Mrs. Hunter, if there's somebody who does not want to come in for photos who is remaining online, do they have the opportunity to submit their own image?
So right now, I've been talking to Mrs. Zuka. Sometimes it's an issue with the formatting of it. So we're talking more about that. So she says it's really hard to kind of get it in there. So she's talking with the, I know the high school did it and they did that a while ago, but she's still talking with the company to see if we can do it at this late date. We were trying to get people to come in so it looked like everyone else, because trying to get it in the same format might be really difficult. And then also, I was also thinking, like, do we have a page for just online? But then that makes it seem kind of weird. So we have to figure that out, I wouldn't want the students to say, oh, well, we have our own page and separate from everyone else. So
I was just thinking, because the friend who brought that up to me, was their whole thing is that they don't feel comfortable heading into the building. And so that was where that question came from, just somebody who's not ready to come in. And I think if they were given, a JPEG parameters like 300 by 300 DPI or whatever it is, I think they could try to work with that. So That's all. That was for a question for a friend.
Yeah, and I'm talking with Ms. Zuka tomorrow too, so we'll get that out as well. So in fourth quarter, we have a committee going, thinking about end of year events. So not just school, but we're gonna still have the eighth grade academic award ceremony and a recognition. We're figuring out what that will look like. Those would be in person. So we think that's important for our eighth graders. Thinking about last year where we weren't able to do that. We are looking at in-person recognition and academic awards. Last year we made them one ceremony, I guess, but we do kind of want to keep it separate as much as possible, like try to keep it as normal as possible. And something that is coming up, which a letter is coming out on Monday, just to let you all know, is that we are going to have Ohio State testing. So that is something that all schools, public schools in the state are doing. And for that, it is state mandated that students take that test on site. So that is not something that students can do online. And that'll be kind of detailed in that letter that's going out on Monday. And it'll happen I think it's we're gonna start the second week of April. So we'll have a week of just regular school, and then the following week we'll start state testing. And so the biggest thing is just looking at end of year events. That's what we're kind of focusing on, and also looking at scheduling for next year as well. So I am really interested in incorporating two courses or coursework in our probably within design is financial literacy and also entrepreneurship. I'm really passionate about that. There is one course at the high school currently that one of my best friends teaches that course, and so I know lots about it, but it's a course that students take in 12th grade. That's an option for 12th graders. But when we really think about the world, and what our students are exposed to on a regular basis through Instagram and other kind of social media and just in technology, they see young people with businesses. They have questions about, financial things that, yes, some students may learn from their families, but maybe not everybody, but at least give everyone a baseline of certain things. Financial literacy actually is something that we should be teaching in middle school per the state. So I want to make it very, somewhat formal. So students are learning those skills, and also entrepreneurship as a course as well. Because I think that when we think about the pathways at the high school and just interests of students, we need to speak to that. We need to give them that foundation. So we're looking at that, and also next year I want to incorporate kind of we call it what I need. So that's what we're working on right now internally, and what that class would be is what the child needs, either support, some type of intervention of some sort, or or enrichment, just based on what students need. So we're working on that and a structure for that, but also coursework for that. So really trying to hit everything that we believe an adolescent needs, and also to make some decisions or about what they want to look at in high school if they choose. But at least I feel like middle school is the time where you kind of dibble and dabble and learn different things. And so we want to have a structure and also curriculum that allows students to do that. So we have lots going on kind of in the background that's going to come forth, that we will communicate as soon as we kind of have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted.
Courtney,
So I'm excited about that though.
Courtney had a question. Sorry.
Going back to the online students, so I just want to clarify because
Yes.
As the communications person, in case I get asked, and we can put it out there too. Online students have to take the state test at school. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about the same friend.
Rule? Is that the state's rule or Shaker's rule?
That's the state's rule.
Okay, so I would just say, make sure that we're explaining that that's a state requirement. Because I think it's really important to respect all the people who are choosing to stay home, who aren't ready for whatever reason, medical or other.
Right.
You know, I'm sure that would be stressful to think of coming in. So I'm sure there's going to be opportunities to come, like you said, for picture day, even, you know, before school or at off hours. So I hope, I don't know. I'm just
Well,
assuming
the
that.
before and as for state testing, it would be during school.
Oh,
The tests are like an hour and a half. I forget how long the English test, the ELA test is. It might be a little bit longer than that. And there's 2 parts of them. So the way that we're structuring it, that it would be in the morning. And then we have even a survey, like, do you need transportation to get here? All of that. And so we can plan, but we're thinking the morning and then the afternoon will be classes, and we would flip them. So let's say one day, let's say there's 2 days of testing in the week. The one day you'll have periods 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon, and the next day you would have periods 5, 6, 7. But it is in the letter, it does say that it's state mandated. That's not a shaker rule, that's a state rule.
I'm
Okay.
curious, how many people opt out of state testing? Is that going to be an option for them this year if they don't feel comfortable coming in?
They can contact us, they can contact the school, and that's what, call the school. But typically, I mean, this is not a typical year, but typically we get maybe 2 or 3 total. That's probably, and even the high school is about the same. And the high school has different things, so they have graduation requirements that are tied to the state testing. So just contact the school.
Okay, so this is the part where we jump around the agenda. Carrie and Mia came to the meeting because I asked them to, because they are the people who were supposed to be in charge of the Rainbow Run.
Okay.
And they may be willing to help out depending on what we do at the end of the year activity. And so I wanted them
Awesome.
to be involved in some end of the year planning. And just
Okay.
like a quick update, Ms. Hunter and I talked yesterday and kind of thought about a non-fundraising kind of giving back, PTO giving back, fun color run during the school day for the students. In lieu, they're not going to Cedar Point. There are a lot of things. There's not a lot of learning that last day of school. You know, what could be done? And so we just started vaguely brainstorming last night, and
Right.
sent out an email real quick saying, hey, you guys volunteered for the Rainbow Run. You want to be involved in this instead? So hopefully we can put something together that's safe and fun and reasonable, and and we haven't spent very much money this year on anything. So we were talking no t-shirts, but snacks, kind of thing. So anyway, I think we should jump to the new business discussion of that topic. So I don't know, Miana, if you've thought more about it and you've got ideas you want to share.
So I haven't thought a lot since we talked last night. I just kind of brought it up. I said, Emily, can you stay on for a second? I have an idea. Or what can we do? But we were just kind of, actually you came up with that idea, or maybe we came up with it together.
You came up with a dance party. I was like, let's tire them out first with a run.
But one thing, the last couple of days of school, normally our 8th graders go to Cedar Point. We're not doing that. We will have the recognition ceremony, but then also our 7th graders, they usually do some team activities and things like that. So I was just thinking, like, what if we had a whole school event, especially because of this kind of weird year, and celebrating, we got to the end, and doing something that's safe and doing something that's, that's together in a sense, as a community. And so we brought up the Rainbow Run and thinking that, have a short trail, have some music. I can even talk to one of our PE teachers, see if he likes to play music, even if that's not an expense that we have to do. If we're able to do something, just using the equipment that we have. In previous years, PTO had, the popsicles in the sun or something like that. It was something like that they would give popsicles during during lunch to everyone, but maybe it's Rainbow Run with some popsicles. So nothing huge, no like food truck. We don't have to do anything big like that, but just something that is, fun for the students at the end of the school year.
So Mia and I talked earlier today, and I think that for us, in terms of like executing our responsibility for what we signed up on, like we would love to do something, and important for us to do it now, because I don't necessarily think my ability to take on Rainbow Run next year would work. So I would love to be able to do something meaningful this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that, I think we talked earlier, we'd be game to do something fun and help, create some memories for these kids who deserve a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I mean, I don't know. I fear that trying to repeat the Rainbow Run when it's not really the Rainbow Run might feel a little false and weird to the kids. So I almost feel like maybe it makes more sense just to do something entirely individual. But I don't know. I'm game for whatever. I really am.
Well, I can tell you that back when we started the Rainbow Run, like it came, I mean, I've probably told the history 100 times, but there was a PTO president who tried to have a readathon. And it was such a good idea. And she hyped it all up of how much money we could raise. And it was a total flop. And we got a group of kids together and said what went wrong. And they said the reading. And they suggested a run. And my kids had recently gone to a color run. And so, of course, I had recruited one of my children to be on this committee. So then that came up, we could do a color run. And we were just a little, the color run is a trademarked thing. And so we were a little bit worried about getting in trouble for using the name. And so that's where we came up with the Rainbow Run name. But the idea of running around the block and having color stations where teachers, in this case, could throw the color. The color is pretty inexpensive. But we don't have to call it the Rainbow Run. It could just be any name that we came up with. I think you're right that separating the name from the event would be important if it's
It could
not a
just
fundraiser.
be like end of year fun run or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think it would be smart to create like a little bit of separation, but still like not reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Right.
And I
That
think,
was my concern, Emily. Are you saying teachers would be on board to throw the color? Because obviously we're missing the whole community aspect with the elementary schools being able to participate. So just want to make sure we have people to throw color. If you think the teachers are in, then that's great. If not, this becomes a little more difficult to execute.
How many people do you need to throw color?
it's optional.
It's a lot.
Well, it depends. You buy as much color as as many color stations as you want, and every station you probably need 5 people, right? Is that
Yeah, and for this to be fun, right, you want to have at least probably 4 stations.
at least? Yeah.
So at least 20.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday about teachers and kids that weren't going to participate for one reason or another. Either kids that physically aren't able to participate, or kids that are opting out. They could choose to throw colors. So you could have one teacher from each team. So that would be 8 stations. And then
So that's my only other, I guess, concern is I feel like if we give them the opportunity to opt out, I think a lot of kids will choose not to run. I don't, maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like then if we end up with more kids wanting to throw color than run, I don't know. That might be a little harder also to
maybe
manage.
you could opt out first and then the teacher would select you to throw color. I don't know, Mia, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a staff. I mean, obviously that's something I would obviously defer to Ms. Hunter on how we'd want to execute that part. My fear would just be like the whole part of the Rainbow Run that gets these kids really excited, right, is the fundraising component. And when we're taking that out and then we're saying, okay, you don't have to run, I think a lot of kids would be like, great, I don't have to run. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I haven't had an opportunity to talk to anybody, between last night and tonight in the last 24 hours about
Sure.
it. But as I'm thinking about it, we might be able to tie this to our PBIS. So we have data and all that kind of stuff. Now, most of our students are going to be eligible for sure. I mean, to do this. probably 90%, right? And then you also have to think like at the end, that last, on June 1st, we might not have all students at school too. I don't know, right? But, I mean, but that's typical. But I think if it's something that we propose to the PBIS team, which is, mostly teachers, then I think they'll be on board. Also, Mr. Beaumont, one of my assistant principals, works with the team leaders. They're part of the PBIS team. So, we can bring this to them and see what they think before you start, planning all of that. But I do know that for the last couple of months, just with my, the teachers who are reps for the teachers union, they're like, what are we going to do at the end of the year? So they're looking for something that, that where they're not, for lack of a better word, like babysitting the kids because the 8th graders are going off and doing something. But if we have a full community event, I think they will be behind it.
Awesome. We're happy to help however we can.
Have they ever done anything, and mind you, I'm not trying to make it sound like High School Musical or anything like that, but have they ever done like any sort of like skit competition or like sing off or like something fun like that where the different teams compete against each other? Because you could fill a couple days at the end of the year with like preparation for a competition that could happen in conjunction with this. And kids, I mean, it can be totally hit or miss. You can have kids that love it, totally buy in, and it becomes a really fun competitive thing, or you can have some people who spoil it and say they're too cool for school, they won't ever be seen doing something like that. So, I mean, it really can be hit or miss, but it could be kind of fun.
That's a great
Right.
idea. We did do a talent show, and Pat, one year,
We did.
and Pat Hitchings does kind of a, didn't she? Well, like I tried to plan, it was Glasner's first year as principal, and we tried to plan this talent show, and we were like siloed up, and turned out that a teacher was running what she had said was like the drill team's show, but it turned out to be a talent show, and we were literally, the PTO and the staff were literally planning competing similar events, and luckily we figured it out and we joined with her. But there was huge demand for it. Kids were trying out, and she's great at that.
Yeah, I mean, I like that idea. I mean, because it could be, I don't know, there could also be things that happen. I'm just thinking like stations of things, right? So even like the morning and then the afternoon, or things happening at the same and flipping. I don't know. We could figure that out. I like that idea though, because I think highlighting our students is the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Last year I tried to do something online, which they didn't bite, but like in the pandemic. But I think in person, I think the students would love to do something like that.
And then you're kind of appealing to all the different talent bases. You've got like a run for athletic kids, and you've got a talent show kind of thing, and they can all participate in all of it. I mean, who knows if it would have worked, but I'm game to try.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, you would have to definitely get Pat Hitchings involved because she is the guru of that.
I know, she's an organizer.
Because the drill team could perform. Like, is there a drill team? Are they doing anything?
This year, no,
Okay.
unfortunately. But Mrs. Moss took over the drill team.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, Mrs. Hitchens is not with us right now. Hopefully she'll be back fourth quarter, but we shall see. We have lots of people who like to organize. Mrs. Q loves to organize things.
So how should we move forward? Because Carrie and I are happy to like set up a meeting to sort of brainstorm or start to execute if you want to pull together, I don't know, any staff or something. I don't know how you'd recommend we move forward, but we obviously need to move fairly quickly.
I'll talk to Mr. Beaumont to get together the people, the end of the year people, and then invite you all to that. They usually meet in the morning at like 8:15, if that's okay. I don't know if that's a good time for you, but I can get him in touch with you all and then figure out a good time.
Perfect.
That's fine with me too. And I was gonna say, I think the most important thing would be to carve out a date. And just like, so that any involved parties can mark that off on the calendar, mark it
Yeah.
so that that's the date for whatever we decide to do.
You were talking about the day, June 1st, right?
I was thinking June 1st, but that's my, that's my thought. The teachers may say something different.
Is that
I
the
was
last
thinking
day of
June
school?
1st is the last day before, yeah, it's the last day before recognition. So recognition is on the 2nd. 7th graders still come on that day, but
But
I
that's
don't
not,
think that we would do something that day. It wouldn't include everybody.
that's just your first choice. It's not the actual determined day.
Right, that's my first choice. So right after Memorial Day. So that was our thought in our little brainstorm yesterday.
Great. So Carrie and I will follow up maybe with an email to you, so you don't have to find our emails, and then you
Okay.
can get us in touch with the right people, and we'll get started. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yay.
Awesome.
And I think we can jump back. I don't, well, to Aaron and the budget, maybe we should do, I don't know if I have budget on the agenda, but Aaron, you want to give us a quick budget report? I think we have money for, the other option was the yearbook. I think we might talk about a contribution to the yearbook. So you want to give us a budget update so we can be informed in these discussions?
There's not much of an update. We've spent hardly any money this year. In total, we've spent just under $1,000. Most of it was for teacher appreciation. Our net budget for the year, we were to spend $19,000, and that's net. So that includes the fundraising, which is basically the Heinen's Chopper Rewards. So I mean, that's really it. So we have money to spend for this end of year event, and we'll figure out how to make it work.
And we need, if we're not doing a fundraiser this year, which I don't think it's appropriate to do, we need to save some money for next year. But I think in our 19,000, we figured that fundraising would probably happen next fall and not before, right?
That's correct. We have $35,000 in the bank. So if we, right now we have 35. So whatever we spend is,
We should
our budget was to have 20,000 at the end of the year, and that was just putting that in there in case we had a great idea and we wanted to spend money, but we haven't spent any. So there's plenty of room.
We're here to help, whatever you need. Yeah, and so then the yearbook, you had a suggestion there too, right?
Right. So when I spoke with Mrs. Zuka the other day, she's our yearbook advisor, and she puts everything together. She had an idea of for the yearbook, which is $10 per student, to see if, and you guys tell me as parents of 7th and 8th graders, if this makes sense, is to kind of gift a yearbook to the 8th graders as they go out to the high school. Another thought is maybe subsidized, so it's not as much. So I don't know how many students would even want a yearbook, but we're at least offering it. So that was an idea that she had as well.
And I think there are 400 8th graders.
Yeah, we have like 370 8th graders, something like that.
That seemed like a lot of money to me. But subsidizing it or providing it to people who applied to a free yearbook scholarship or something, or subsidizing it for everybody, like those seemed like good ideas to me, but depends on the group. I'm not opposed to paying for it, I guess, but I somehow feel like there could be a better use of our money because lots of families would be happy to pay $10. So I hate to pay for those people.
So I mean, and part of my thinking was also, for the 7th graders, what do we do for those who have 7th graders? Like, how would that make them feel? I don't know.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was just, and I guess the speaker series update comes into this a little bit in terms of the speaker series. We did number 1 about equity. I think everybody has seen these or knows. We did Lisa Behe and John and David Peak talked about equity. Then we talked about course pathways at the high school, and then we talked about instruction at the middle school. And I guess I wondered, is that enough? Are there more topics that people are interested in? Should we keep going? I mean, they seem to have been very well received. I think the overarching goal is parent education, to help parents understand what's happening and why and how. And if we've covered that, that's great. I know Jeff Isaacs talked to me about going a step further and having every department head at the high school do kind of what the art department chair did and explain all the course offerings. That's not really middle school related necessarily, but it's information that we need to know. So I just wanted to have a discussion. And I'm bringing this up to like cover the old business because I really want a more broad discussion of like what the PTO's role is for the rest of the year, right? Like we're going to do a big event. Do we need to have more speakers, or did we do a great job and we're done? What else could we be doing? Where should we be focusing our efforts? That kind of thing. So I just wanted to include the speaker series in that broader. At one point I talked about a book club and people were like, people are exhausted. Like nobody wants to do that. Don't even think about a book club. That's stupid. Like no one wants to, get on Zoom and talk about a book. So even if we all did it together. So what does everybody think kind of what we should be doing for the rest of the year?
I just wanted to say I appreciated very much that you worked so hard to get those together. Just for the record, I think you did such a great job, putting things together for our community, and they were really informative. I think the one piece that was missing from these was just a discussion element, but because they were so information packed, we just ran out of time, and that's what happens. We don't want to take more than an hour really for busy parents. So I don't know if there's a way to, just offer opportunities for parents to get together who might want to have discussion. I mean, we could just be that kind of vehicle for people. Like look, tonight we have a little bit, we have a smaller group because there's been a lot of activity, and it's just hard to, everybody needs a night to just do whatever else they have to do, or just to be with their family. So I don't know. That's my only thought about about moving forward. Can we offer an opportunity for families or parents to come together and talk, at least on Zoom? Obviously, no recording, just free discussion. Because I've been forwarding all the information about the speaker series to my pod. I'm one of those pod champion leader, whatever the title is, and I'm just kind of forwarding information where I can. And there's been some, discussion on my email chains. And I offered to do a Zoom for those who maybe didn't want to respond on email and would just rather kind of talk things through. So I don't know, what do others think?
I think a good way to do that is to throw out the idea that there'll be a discussion-based meeting, and then ask people to submit topics of interest, and then choose like the top 2 most submitted. That way, the people who would participate are having input maybe on the topics, but it wouldn't be like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. We want to avoid free-for-alls.
Yeah. Those don't end well.
Well, and I don't know how many of you were on the instruction one, but I did say, come to the PTO meeting tonight and we'll talk about it. And there is like a super important meeting at the high school tonight that conflicted. So I think that was just came out that Mr. Julie's having a panel discussion about changes at the high school. And so I made my husband go to that. And I know Stacy Wren is at that. So like there are a lot of people that would have been at this meeting, I think, that wasn't conflicting. But it also shows there wasn't a huge demand for that conversation of the people who attended, because I didn't get any emails saying, hey, I really want to have this discussion, but I can't attend. But I also have heard, the one-way discussion is terrible, and I agree. And I think we should talk about these topics for sure. So that's a great suggestion, Courtney, and I will do my best to put it together and hope people show up. So in terms of activities or other topics for a speaker series, do you think we've covered it all? Do we need to discuss and process and see what comes out of that if we need more, if more topics are necessary from that discussion, I guess is what you're saying. And then other PTO events, I think if we do some end of the year things, that's kind of exciting. And then recruitment is the other thing we need to talk about. Carrie and Mia, if you're, Mia, are you staying on for the Rainbow Run? So this is kind of a big disaster, right? Because we've done such a good job carrying forward the Rainbow Run with continuous leadership in terms of having an 8th grade parent and a 7th grade parent and getting experience and turning it over. Do you guys, I have not done, Brooke, a good job with recruiting for your board, primarily because I don't know anybody. This is my baby in 8th grade. And so I don't even know what parents to tap in the 6th grade to come run a Rainbow Run. Do you guys have any suggestions for your successors, friends, or people that would be good that we could reach out to?
I'll work on trying to figure it out. I mean, I have a 7th grader right now, so I'm still going to be around for another year. I just am, it's been a burnout year, so I'm feeling a little hesitant. I'm trying to ascribe by the stop signing up for anything right now. But just, I'll think on it.
Okay, thank you.
The two co-presidents at Woodbury might have some good suggestions for us. They might have some awareness of outgoing 6th grade parents who might want to get involved. So, and I served with them a couple years ago, and I'd be happy to send them an email.
Okay, that would be great.
Well, and we also had people that we had asked to be with us this year. Perhaps one of them might be interested in still doing it next year with a 6th grade parent, like a current 6th grade parent. So one of them might stay on. I don't know, Clary, if you think.
We had totally tapped our successors already.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
So,
we've already identified our successors. I think we need to ask them if they're interested in doing it next year. And if not, maybe one of them will. I don't know. But I do agree, though, because I think they would both be 8th grade parents next year. Or no, I don't. One was Gina. Who was the other one?
It was Gina Kufari and Ann Jared.
And what grader is Ann's child?
Ann's child is in 6th grade.
And Gina's son is in 7th.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So if they're willing to do it, then at least you'll have one parent stay consistent for the following year.
Great, because
maybe it could be a 3-person committee, and I could help them next year too.
That would be great. I think
I have to think about it.
Right. I think that's the most important role to fill. I mean, obviously we have presidents. Brooke and Segev are going to be presidents, and Aaron has just said he would be treasurer. And Courtney's going to stay on as communications. And Sarah Schiavone told me she wanted a VP role. And Erin Zellen texted me that Beth Gillespie, who I don't know, is interested in helping. But I think, so that's great, but I think any role can be unfilled except for your roles as Rainbow Run chairs. That's like the most important jobs to fill. President, treasurer, and Rainbow Run. So that's, if you guys can, follow up and let us know, that's the thing you have to worry about most, Brooke, I think. Okay, so I don't know that we have, I don't really have a report other than what I just gave you about the speaker series went really well. People seemed very receptive. Brooke, do you have a report? No? I guess the other half of my report is that recruitment is not going well, primarily because I'm not really doing it very well because I don't really know anyone and my plate is kind of full. So we don't have a nominating chair this year. That was an unfilled position. And so I'm not doing as good a job as a nominating chair would do. So Brooke, you might want to be your own nominating chair. Because I'm terrible at this job. This is not my skill set.
Did you say that there's a nominating group though? Are there people that are actively working on it right now?
Not
Or
really.
no?
I mean,
Oh,
I've
no.
sent a few emails. Kevin said he's talked to some people. He was gonna send a sign up genius, but I didn't get it, so I don't know. I've sent emails to everyone who volunteered this year and asked them if they would fill their position again, and I've gotten pretty little response.
Mhm.
And there's no nominating chair. So if someone would like to be nominating chair, that would be a great thing too, because without a nominating chair, it's kind of falling on me. And as I said, like asking people to do stuff is not my strong suit.
I'm sorry, who did you say was gonna make a sign up genius?
Kevin Lowry said he would,
Okay.
but and you can reach out to him because he said he would. I just don't think he's done it.
Okay, I'll be more active with that. I'm trying to help Onaway fill their roster, so that already feels like a big task, but I'll be more active. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's your board. I mean, I feel like you're not supposed to fill your own board. We're supposed to do that for you, but and online I have the roster, and as people tell me they'll take their same position, I'm moving them over. I mean, I am keeping track, but I'm not calling people up and asking them to serve. Like I'm just sent some emails. So if somebody is good at that job and wants to do it, like please step in.
I just had
Well,
a brainstorm idea. Oh, sorry, Brooke. I just really quickly, I know there's that great sign up genius for Onaway. I saw that. And what if we asked all the elementary schools to put a little note at the bottom of their sign up genius, or put a note, maybe this is already happening, but I don't remember seeing this on the Onaway newsletter. Like if your child, or not Onaway, I guess it would have to be Woodbury. If your child's moving on, like, can we just promote it in Woodbury's sign up genius? If you,
That's what I would.
you know what I'm saying? I think that could be maybe, and maybe Abby and Leslie would be willing to do that for us.
Yeah.
Leslie, what do you think? I know you're on the board with them.
Well, so it's not encouraging exactly, but there was a sign up genius that came out this week, and it is pretty empty. But of course, you know, they're just beginning to recruit. So I think it would be really simple to add it at the bottom, and maybe also include it in the weekly e-news at the bottom of you know, the newsletter. Possibly that might help too. Because if a parent didn't open up the sign up genius, maybe they happen to open up the e-news and might see that there is a need for help at the middle school as well. And there's actually a meeting tonight, so I'm going to have to follow up after. So I will mention to Abby and Leslie that we need helpers at the middle school as well. And my youngest son will be in 6th grade at Woodbury, so I will try to think about parents I know in 6th grade and see if I can encourage some interest too.
That would be great. I'd be happy to send an email to the board members and volunteers at Woodbury and say, will you have a 7th grader, and will you fill your same slot for next year at the middle school? Especially because everybody in those slots didn't do anything, right? So like you volunteered for a job and 90% of those jobs didn't even happen. So like, would you like the opportunity to try again? To do that thing you wanted to do or said you would do. So I mean, I guess maybe that's a good way to start, is just to ask everybody in Woodbury if they want to do their same job or a similar job. So maybe Leslie, can you send that message out of like?
Yes, I have to follow up because I'm missing the executive board meeting. So I have to follow up about a few things anyhow, and I will let them know that we need help, and I'll see what I can do to provide some support. So yes, I'll definitely take care of it.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate that. See, and look, Mia and Carrie jumped right off as soon as their part was over, which is one reason I put their part at the beginning, because I thought they might be, they were definitely here to help, and that was wonderful of them. So, and didn't want to bore them with all our recruitment stuff. So I don't think, Courtney, you could give us a report. And I don't think we have any other reports beyond that. And so then we're almost.
I don't have much to report on other than I've just been updating the website with, you know, whenever we get a link to like the recording for the speaker series, I added that. I added information about the picture day and about your principal chats, Ms. Hunter. So it's really up to date. And that's my goal, but I don't think many people see it, to be honest. with you.
Admit, I just started using it myself this week. So
Yeah, no,
love
it's
it.
just, you know what? It takes 2 clicks to get to it from the Shaker Middle School website. There's it, you know, so we could try to kind of push it on Facebook a little bit more, but I don't know how many people really use that as a tool. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, it's good to know that it's there. I'm glad to keep it updated. But I would just say that I don't think, I mean, I'd be interested in getting some analytics. I don't know if the school can actually provide those to us. I'd like to know how many people even go on it. I think Sarah probably, and at the council level, probably could tell us, I'm sure by the end of the year, if this, because it's a new model, we use this new model this year. So I think we really need to know how, and maybe it will just take a couple of years to kind of catch hold. So yeah, it was a cool system. I feel like that's why I wanted to stay on in this role, because I finally learned how to update the website pretty efficiently. And I was like, oh, I can do it, you know.
Okay.
So, but there's nothing really else to add. You know, the only other main thing is the newsletter. And also, I don't know how, I'd be curious to hear from parents if they preferred the Sunday evening delivery of that versus the Friday evening. I think, you know, there's data that just general marketing data that shows, actually me as a marketing person, that would have been good to have her feedback, but I don't know. I personally like getting it Sunday night because I feel like I'm preparing for the week and I can kind of, I've had time to kind of relax over the weekend and I kind of look at it. Whereas Friday, I felt like I missed it a lot. But I don't know how others feel, but I think that that's some feedback from at least the board level that we should provide to Sarah and Stacy.
I agree with you. I also think it's way too many clicks in there. Like, I think Janelle just has, instead of putting our information in the newsletter, she's like, click here for the PTO. So it's one more click. And so I think maybe if you got rid of that click and just had it on the memo right there, that might be more accessible to people because nobody made that last click.
And I don't know if they're going to end up going back to like each individual school having a newsletter person who sends it out, or if they're really continuing with the streamline information. And I think it works in so many ways because there is just like a plethora of information that's relevant to every family from Shaker, from the district. So I really appreciate and understand that they want to streamline that. I just think that, you know, the design is lacking a little bit, and that's no fault to any of the people putting it out, but it's just truly a Word document. And so, you know, I'm sure we can spice it up in some way. There's got to be a template we can use that would, you know, make that a little bit more exciting. So that's something I was thinking about working on this summer, is talking to Sarah, since I'm staying on in that, or there's usually a big communications meeting in the summer, seeing if we can kind of ask to spruce that up.
That's great. Excellent.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I have a question though, what you were saying, Emily, about the clicks I'm on this week's right now. So what do you mean, like down at the bottom where you have to click?
Find it. Oh, middle school memo. How do I even find it? Middle school. What would I get it? It's Shaker info. I don't even know. What's the in Ray on there?
No,
News.
I think it's news.
Um,
I hate to say that I don't know, but I
Good,
usually do the
Shaker
same thing that
Heights.
you're doing.
It's Shaker Heights e-news.
E-news.
And then you click on the middle school memo. And then middle school calendar, and then you get down there, picture day, staff chat, daily announcements, sports information, principal chat, PTO news. And then
Right.
you click, like, couldn't it just be PTO news and then say what it is? But if you wanted to read all the PTO news, you're going to have to click on 4 different documents. Like,
Oh, you can just,
so maybe you can tell I don't ever click on it, right? But no, you click on speaker series and then you get, oh, there it is. Okay.
yeah, you click on it. It's like a bookmark.
Yeah.
So you can see, it's like a table of contents.
If I
And then
didn't,
when you click it, it just goes through, or you can just scroll down and look at everything.
oh, okay, it is there. All right, I always think that I have to click that, and maybe I stop scrolling because I know what it says.
Um,
So that makes sense. Okay. And then I guess the only other thing I want to talk about is teacher appreciation. We've got plenty of money, according to Erin. What can we do in the last quarter now that everybody's back at school to support the teachers? We talked about a coffee truck in the first quarter, but it didn't make sense because the teachers weren't there. And that's when we did the little gift cards. But is there something, if you can think of something that would benefit all teachers, that would be safe, that would be reasonable as a gift from the PTO? Like this has been a long, hard year for them. We would love to do something to support them.
I love the coffee truck idea.
Yeah, we looked into that. It was kind of interesting and fun.
I saw it, I work at HB and I remember there was that's been there a couple times, but it's a lot less staff. So I was wondering if that would be enough, if we would need, like I'm wondering, and there was a group of people who delivered the coffees. So I think that would have to change for Shaker just because there's so many teachers.
Yeah.
So what about a food truck or something like that? Or I guess I'm just thinking like we can't necessarily have like open food because that doesn't feel safe. But what if people got to do specific orders?
Right, you don't want parents in the school running coffee.
No.
This Cleveland Coffee Bar Catering does do these food truck style coffee things, which we talked about before. I don't know what the cost is, and I don't know how you would do it in terms of how the teachers would get there, that kind of the logistics of it might be challenging. But I don't know, Ms. Hunter, do you have any ideas of what would be a good suggestion?
Well, just like the children, the teachers love food and coffee and all that kind of stuff. So so are you thinking for like a coffee truck, it would just be in the morning? I mean, people would just get it when they come in and go to their rooms or whatever. They would love that, honestly, if there was that. And just the other day, Jen Weisbarth brought in donuts for those who participated on Monday. And I was in a meeting with her like right after that. And there were two people in her office, like, yes, I want my donut. I mean, they were there. So all you have to do is say, come, and people will come.
Just something as simple as coffee and donuts in the teacher's lounge would get it done, as you're saying.
I did that last year. I can't remember. I did that last year. Oh yeah, it'll go. It'll go. And even if it's some type of like truck, I mean, that just even makes it even more special. I mean, it's outside. You don't have to worry about the crowding. People will do that, themselves, still socially distant themselves. And it's just kind of special. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess the timing of that would be the issue. Like, you don't want too many teachers in line because they've got to get back to work. Like, how does the logistics?
Well, they come in at 8:15. Okay. And if we just kind of block off the time and not have a meeting for them to go to, then 8:15 to 9 o'clock. So that 45 minutes could be.
How many teachers are there again? Just that off the top of your head.
And staff.
Total, like
staff.
I think I have 100. I have to count. I want to say 130, something like that. But I'll get. I'll have Janelle give me the number.
That includes the staff.
That includes staff.
That's a lot of coffee to turn around in 45 minutes. I'm wondering if we can do if we can give the people a pre-order. Like maybe we do some kind of link. We have to look into this with a company, but what if they came in knowing they had 20 lattes or and they could figure out how to manage their time as they're preparing these things.
All right, I'm going to reach out to our teacher appreciation people and see if they want to take the lead on that, because we have 3 people who volunteered for that job.
Is it possible to also start maybe even just a little before 8:15 for the teachers who arrive even earlier? Or
Absolutely.
maybe like, I mean, how early do you think, like 7:45, or would that be too early?
No, there are people there. There's some people, there are a few. Because I usually start my meetings at 7:45. So there are a few people, not a lot. But you also have, like, our custodians will be there and,
Right.
you know, people like that. My office staff doesn't come in till 8:15 either, because school doesn't start till 9:15 now.
Mhm.
All right. So Erin, do we have I know we just had broad sweeping categories. Did we have a teacher appreciation line item or sorry, what are our parameters?
We did not have a specific line item for teachers, but we had, let's see, I'm looking here. 2,000 in outreach in the budget, 1,200 in PTO operations, 17,000 in educational enrichment, and 2,500 in parent education and advocacy. But we could also just make a motion to move the categories if we wanted to.
An educational enrichment, yeah, it is that fund for when you want a picnic table, or when you need a smart board or whatever it is that you aren't funded for. So I know with the kids not in the school, that's a challenging category, but if you need something, you should tell us sooner rather than later. And then I'll reach out and just say, you know, we're looking for a teacher appreciation suggestion from something as small as donuts and coffee in the teacher's lounge to as large as a coffee truck. Are you interested in organizing this and making it happen? And hopefully they'll have big vision and do something fun. And do you have, I mean, I guess it's been a long week for you. We don't need to open a can of worms, but there is money available if there's something that PTO could help the middle school with. It's that, you know, the money is for the kids. It's not really to sit in the bank. Maybe you should just think on that, but
I'll think on that. I'll think on that because it might be our PBIS rewards, not PBIS rewards, but our PBIS committee may come up with some things, you know, as well to, for as incentives. They have some ideas. I just don't know what they are. I know they met last week.
yeah, and I know we funded last year and then the money wasn't spent and they had some left over, but you know, there's.
Yeah, I didn't see that line in my budget, but I know one team had some, but because, I mean, students were at home most of the year, right? We haven't done a lot, so we're trying to boost it back up. And so they have some ideas for incentives, but I mean, free things like next week we have a Spirit Week, you know, as part of that. But with PBIS Rewards, which is a new kind of digital platform that we are using, we could definitely do something with PBIS.
Well, and I also think if you want to send the word out to the, you know, the teams, I think we like to fund permanent improvements. Like if they have, you know, whatever it is that they need that they're going to use for years, you know. I mean, the thing that comes to mind for me right now is my daughter's organic chemistry set with the live models. Like I know you probably don't know that, but something like that, right? Like what do they need that would enhance their lessons, that would, you know, go for year after year after year? Is there something that we could do? That would be good to know as well. So,
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, anyone have anything else? All right, I think that's it. I've had a long day on Zoom, I can tell you that. I'm sure you all have. So Miata, thank you so much for being with us 3 nights.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks a lot.
I think we're supposed to make a motion to leave, to adjourn. Does anyone want to do that?
Move to adjourn.
And second?
I second.
Okay, are we all in favor? We are all in favor. Thank you so much, Miata. Like I really, really appreciate it.
Of course, of course. My
Thank
son
you.
tried to come over here. You almost saw him for a second. I said, I'm gonna.
Okay.